What's up, guys? Lore here with more Heart of the Swarm beta action. Exciting matches we've seen today, and this one should be exciting as well. Up here in the northwest corner, once again, we have WhiteRa. Of course, these matches that I've been casting today are from the WhiteRa replay pack that he released. And down here in the southeast, we have none other than Stephano is our blue Zerg. So this could be a very, very interesting and exciting match. Both players giving a good luck, have fun. Yeah, and this was actually played while Stephano's been at the EG house, so cool. Cool to see. Go ahead and pull this stuff up here and start seeing what these guys have in store for us. So this map, we haven't done too much on this map just yet. Very, very large main here. A couple little nooks and crannies around here. We have this as your natural expansion, which makes sense. It's up this ramp here. And then we have this interesting little combination going on over here. I've pointed this out in another cast. I don't remember if it was one that I actually put up on my YouTube or not. But you have this as probably your third. This would be what most people would say is your third base. It's blocked from you by these destructible rocks, but potentially blocked from your opponent by this collapsible rock tower. So you can clear out these destructible rocks and then kill this, and then this is the only entrance into that base at that point. That's the only way to actually get in there. So you can take this and have a relatively defended third when that actually happens. Or you can come down over here and take this as your third. It's a little bit more out of the way, but not by too much. And that would, of course, lead you towards this being your fourth as well, next to these Xel'Naga watchtowers. There are a lot of Xel'Naga watchtowers on this map. A whole 4 of them. Just spread all the way across here, letting you get a pretty solid amount of vision all the way across the center of this map. So, interesting map. We've seen Blizzard doing a whole lot of cool stuff with with collapsible rocks, and sort of allowing things like this to actually happen. So, I'm really curious to see if that's something that players are going to sort of embrace as time goes on, or if it's going to turn out to be something that everyone's just like, you know what, I just don't like these rocks at all. I don't want them there anymore. Dustin Browder, please stop putting rocks in everything, and we'll go back to having no more rocks in any professional matches anymore. Could be interesting either way. So let's take a look at what these players are doing. We've got Stephano going for a relatively early expansion. I believe that is after his, it looked like about a 15 hatchery after his pool over there. So that'll be coming up pretty quick. Again, this seems to make a lot of sense on this map especially. It's a decent distance down to this hatchery right away, so you definitely want to get some sort of defense up first. And it doesn't put you behind by very much to actually get that pool up first. It's only actually by a few seconds in the grand scheme of things. Seconds do end up mattering a lot of times, but it does seem worth it in my opinion. Meanwhile, WhiteRa is actually coming down here and just said, you know what, I'm going to just go for a very, very fast expansion. I believe this actually was a Nexus first, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's got both of his gases up in his main here, and he's just going to continue on from there, getting his Cyber Core up. A couple of Zerglings coming in here, going to run right past that Zealot and be able to get up in here, and this kind of sucks for WhiteRa. They're going to be able to get all sorts of scouting done. Going to see both gases and get a good idea of what's going on from WhiteRa. I'm going to be able to scout around over here as well and see no gases over there. So that's lots of very, very important information for Stephano. And he's going to respond by going ahead and getting up a third base. He says, you know what, I'm just going to make a third right away. No problem whatsoever. All he's got is, he literally has a spawning pool and 3 hatcheries. Those are the entirety of his structures right now. Very, very heavy economy focus early on here for Stephano. Cool to see. I love economy focus matches. Very, very fun indeed. There's the Mothership Core popping out for WhiteRa. Going to go ahead and get that thing up as quickly as possible. We've seen a lot of Protoss players. It's interesting so far how the Mothership Core has actually been used in practice. We've seen a lot of Protoss players using that primarily for either the Purify ability early on, or one thing WhiteRa has loved to do, and it doesn't look like he's actually doing it this time around. He's actually getting several gateways up. But he'll go for a very, very fast Stargate and use the Mothership Core's Energize ability to immediately give an Oracle full energy and be able to come over and deny a whole ton of mining right away with that Entomb ability. poking around over here. Oh, he may actually be able to kill off this Overlord. One more shot. Yep, and there he goes. And that actually supply blocks Stephano. He does have 3 more Overlords about to pop out, so it's not the end of the world by any means. But it's always frustrating early on. You get supply blocked. It messes up your timings a little bit. You're just behind by like that half a second. It feels really, really frustrating. WhiteRa now going up to 4 gases and adding on, or he's just about to finish up his Warp Gate tech. And excuse me, he's not actually adding anything on just yet. He's sitting here. He's actually got 600 minerals banked up right now. So I wonder if he's just waiting to get a little bit more information. He's actually letting his minerals spike pretty high. I wonder if he's waiting to get a little bit more information before trying to take an expansion, or what's actually going on. Oh, he's actually going for an attack over here. Was waiting for that pylon to finish. Still, he's floating a whole bunch of minerals, but he's coming in for a little bit of an attack over here. This isn't a major attack. This isn't a game-winning attack for him, but he is going to be able to do a little bit of damage, or at least hope to do a little bit of damage. There are now a whole bunch of Zerglings over here for Stephano, so they're going to chase him. Oh, but Stephano actually abandons that base. He's just going to run away, and wow, he may actually just leave this base to die entirely. How many Zerglings does he actually have? I've lost sight of his Zerglings here, unfortunately. There they are. There's a whole bunch of them. He does have 17 Zerglings. I feel like, well, at this point he can't. That base is going to go down for sure. So that's a nice early victory for WhiteRa, excuse me, being able to take out that base really early. Now Stephano's going to come in with this bunch of Zerglings and a few Roaches there as well. He was able to make off those remaining larvae, and should be able to clean up this army. But it actually looks like WhiteRa is going to be able to crush through, actually. Interesting. So you had that bunch of last-second Warpins were able to come in there, and that engagement just did not go well for Stephano. He just did not have enough forces to be able to take that out. So this army is actually doing a lot more than I thought it would from WhiteRa. I don't think even WhiteRa was expecting to be able to do this much damage with it. Sure, I mean, he has the pylon over there. He wants to do as much as he can. But he only sent in, like, what was it, like three Zealots, a Sentry, and a Stalker at the start there. I don't think WhiteRa was really expecting to do nearly as much damage as he ended up doing. But Stephano was being so greedy with his economy that I wonder if he just didn't have the larva or something to be able to put out more units early on there. Either way, it looks like Stephano is now pumping out Roaches like crazy, which is really what he needs to be able to beat this army. I know the Stalkers are still relatively good against the Roaches, but with these numbers, he's going to be pushed back now at this point, and should be able to, yeah, go ahead and shove WhiteRa back. Oh, loses that Roach. Nice little move there by WhiteRa. Just notices that one Roach is walking out in front of everything. Just turns around and gets a kill real quick. Stephano actually didn't kill this pylon. I feel like he should have, and in fact there's another pylon coming up over here. But it looks like Stephano might just say, you know what, I know that you lost a whole bunch of army right now, so nope, he's going to go over there, kill off that sentry. Nice little move there to finish that thing off. And now he's finally going to come back over here and presumably come up and kill this pylon, but he does not know about, or is he not going to? Is he just going to leave that there? And, oh, I did not see the Dark Shrine building. Neither did Stephano. Now there are Dark Templar in Stephano's main. I believe he's seen it. Yep, and there we go. There's the Overseer popping out just in time, so he must have actually seen it at some point. Was that... Did he actually spot that? Where even is that thing? There it is. No, he did not see it. But somehow or another, he managed to just... I don't know if he just was like, you know what, maybe I should build a Overseer right now. This force was a lot smaller than I was expecting it to be out of WhiteRa. Maybe I'll just go ahead and build this Overseer just in case. And it certainly paid off for him. He was able to kill off those Dark Templar without taking too much in the way of damage at all. So, let's poke around up over here, see what WhiteRa's been up to. He is getting his... See, that is now 2-2 he's going to go up to. So, nice upgrades on WhiteRa so far. Of course, Stephano is working on his own upgrades, so just sort of keeping pace. Getting a Robotics Bay. He has already finished his Twilight Council as well, obviously, because he has the Dark Templar. And he has finished Blink. So, yeah, so going for a lot more standard armor. He actually hasn't even built a Stargate at all. So, no sort of new units coming out just yet, other than the Mothership Core, obviously, for WhiteRa. And Stephano is just now adding on his Infestation Pit as well, so we may start to see... Oh, nice, a Macro Hatchery as well. And a few Spine Crawlers, good. So we may start to see... I'm wondering if he's getting the Infestation Pit for... I'm going to keep an eye on that for just a second. If he's getting it for Infestors, or if he's going to get... No, he's grabbing the Enduring Locust upgrade. He's going to start making Swarm Hosts very, very soon here. We saw another game between WhiteRa and Show, where Show made very, very good use of Swarm Hosts, and we've seen Stephano make even better use of Swarm Hosts in other games, especially the game I cast against Thorzane. So I am very much looking forward to seeing some excellent... WhiteRa just sort of jiggling this guy around. It's like, I don't really want anybody to see this. He's just poking up in here, hoping that there's no Overseer nearby. There isn't quite yet. Unfortunately, he's going to die before he can quite do any damage. But we do have a decent little army moving out over here of Stalkers. These are Blink Stalkers now for WhiteRa. He's going to poke up around here, kill off this... Is he going to kill off that? Yeah. He's going to kill off this Overlord up over here. Clear up some of the map for him. And actually... Wow, Stephano still doesn't know that pylon is there. He almost went up there and saw it. Now he's going to come in here. That's a lot of roaches moving up there. That's way too many for this bunch of stalkers to take out. So WhiteRa is going to back off. Does lose that pylon. And now WhiteRa is going to go in for some aggression at the same time that Stephano's going in for some aggression. He's going to move up over here. There's not much here to actually defend against this. Not this number of roaches. So this is scary for WhiteRa. Takes out the Colossus right away. He's going to try and use... Oh, nice. He uses the recall ability of the Mothership Core to pull all of his Stalkers back here and be able to push Stephano away. Very nice quick thinking there from WhiteRa using the recall ability. Takes 150 energy, and that's a lot of energy on this Mothership Core. But he was able to poke over here. I don't know if he ever actually did any damage. No, he probably came down here, saw the Spine Crawlers, went, you know what, I'm not going to do anything here, just mass recall, pulled all of his Stalkers back, and was able to defend. Very, very nice. Quick thinking there from WhiteRa. I'm actually surprised that WhiteRa hasn't killed these collapsible rocks. They've taken some damage, but if he were to kill them, then this would be the only entrance into his base. I suppose he's actually completely walled this up, so this is kind of funny. He's opted to wall this entry. Whoops, excuse me. There's a little bit of a fight going on over here. A whole bunch of Zerglings getting roasted. Nothing too major. But he's actually opted to wall this thing off with buildings instead of walling this thing off with rocks, which is a strange choice, but alright. I suppose it does leave him something that he may be able to just kill that if he were to be attacked and then completely wall himself in, so that's kind of cool. So just an interesting choice, yeah. Getting now this fourth base up, I don't believe that's quite in range of either of these overlords. No, just barely outside of range, but he will certainly see once any mining actually starts to happen there. And going up now to 3-3 on WhiteRa's units. Those 3-3 Colossi especially, there's only 2 of them, but they'll be able to do a lot of damage. And he does have 2 more on the way, pumping out lots of Colossi as quickly as he can. Ooh, I have not seen these yet in any of the games that I've cast. Let me find one somewhere, please. Where are they? There we are. Vipers. Holy crap, that's a lot of Vipers. Holy crap, this is a lot of Vipers. Now, these are a new caster unit for the Zerg. They have the consume ability, and they have a whole bunch of abilities. Let's see what they actually end up doing here. They're just going to run in and die. Holy balls. Now, there we go. There is the, what's the name of that ability? Abduct ability. Pulling those Colossi over there into the army to die, but unfortunately there's just too much there for Stephano to actually deal with. He was not able to get his Swarm Host burrowed in time to be able to get out a good volley of Locusts, and I'm not actually sure how well these Vipers actually work. They don't have a direct attack themselves. They are literally just there as a spellcaster, so they can abduct, they can Blinding Cloud. I don't know why he made so many of them, though. I don't feel like you would need that many to really have them be effective. Interesting. He's pumping them out like crazy, though, so maybe he knows something that I don't about what's going on here. Or maybe he just wants to be able to abduct like crazy, pull things back into lines upon lines of locusts. And as you can see, these locusts hurt. They hurt so much, and they're free. They cost nothing at all. Literally just a cooldown on the Swarm Host is all that those cost. Oop, we have a little bit of an attack coming up over here. Going to be able to take these out with the Zerglings, but there is a Dark Templar in there. It's a cheeky little move. He mixes in the Dark Templar with a whole bunch of Zealots. so that Stephano. Oh no, Stephano did notice. Stephano is much too smart for this. He did notice that the Dark Templar was in there, but that's a lot of damage that was done. That is a lot of damage that was done. These are 2-0 Zerglings. They're really not able to do much damage to these 3-1-3 Zealots that WhiteRa has. So WhiteRa definitely winning in the upgrade war. And in fact, he's winning in the supply war right now as well. And uh-oh, this could be very bad for Stephano if he gets caught out of position like this. Oh, those things are not burrowed. They're going to move away. Unfortunately, WhiteRa got a little bit preoccupied with killing a whole bunch of locusts that were down there. But now he's going to move in from behind, burning through those Zerglings immediately. But there goes the abductability, pulling all of those guys directly into the middle of a giant box of locust death. And that hurts. They're going to be able to continue yanking those things over there. Unfortunately, that actually kind of worked out poorly for him. It pulled the Colossus right into on top of the Swarm Host and was able to do even more damage that way. And wow, that's a lot of Stalkers. Holy crap, that's a lot of Stalkers. That is entirely too many Stalkers to even bother trying to count. Let's look at the units tab over here. 34 Stalkers now for WhiteRa. He is maxed once again. He has been sitting on plenty of minerals and plenty of resources. Oh, nice. He's gonna block off that path as well, which completely blocks up. I actually don't know if he meant to do that now. I thought he was going to block off that path and then move around this way, but instead he blocked off that path and then unblocked it. Maybe he just wanted to make sure that he couldn't get blocked off himself. Now blinking in there, running in there with his Stalkers, I guess he didn't actually blink, doing a ton of damage right now. There are a whole lot of Swarm Hosts here, popping out Locusts like crazy, and I don't believe there's an Observer here for WhiteRa, so he's not going to be able to actually kill those Swarm Hosts, but he does take out this expansion. He's going to blink away and back off in a hurry. Still taking damage from those Locusts, but he did deal a significant amount of damage himself. There is an unburrowed Swarm Host that's running from a Dark Templar, and it's actually going to die. This one Dark Templar, he has 15 kills. How is there 15 kills on this what has this man been up to? Sir, excuse me. How do you have 15 kills? Were they all Locusts? He's just been running around killing Locusts? Do they even count? I don't even know if they count. Man, that Dark Templar doing stuff. Anyway. Once more, we do have a bit of... I don't know if Stephano has stopped making Locusts at this point. Excuse me, not Locusts. I forgot the name of the unit again now all of a sudden. What is the Viper? There we go. He I don't know if he stopped making, or it looks like he has completely stopped making Vipers now. They didn't really seem to be paying off for him. I feel like he was making way too many of them, but they didn't seem to be paying off for him regardless. Sure, he was able to pull them into his army, but his army was much smaller as a result. So he ultimately just wasn't really able to do too much with the army that he had left, having all of those Vipers. Now WhiteRa is continuing to summon in these Dark Templar and sending them in there. They've been surprisingly effective for him. You usually don't see... Well, those ones might not be, but you usually don't see Dark Templars being used this frequently, and meanwhile he's going to pull down here and deny that expansion. Well, it does get cancelled, but he's going to deny it. And this Dark Templar up over here, managing to get himself a couple kills, 3 kills. Oh, and he's just going to be left alone apparently, because there is this giant fight going on down over here. Now Archon's available in the mix, doing as much damage as they can. The Colossi are a little bit too far forward, taking a whole bunch of damage from those Locusts, and do end up dying as a result. And now WhiteRa is actually just sitting here. There's another Viper out, by the way. WhiteRa is now... Oops, never mind, there went that Viper. There's another one. He's going to try and get an abduct off. No, he dies way too fast. Those things are very, very fragile. But WhiteRa seems to be spending a lot of time fighting Locusts, which you really just don't want to do. They're free units. Any damage you take while fighting these, like he's losing units right now to these Locusts. Sure, he can clear through them, but any damage that he takes is free damage that Stephano's doing. He's not actually able to... He's not doing any damage, basically. WhiteRa can kill Locusts all day and have done 0 damage while taking damage himself. So, a little bit of... I'm not actually sure if that's something he's doing on purpose or what. Just seems to be poor planning on WhiteRa's part. But then again, he is WhiteRa and I am not, so maybe he knows something that I don't. So things seem to have settled down a little bit for the moment, at the very least. We have WhiteRa making very good use of these Xel'Naga towers. Let's get a look at his vision right now. He can see all over this map right now, just absolutely everywhere. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that this is here or that this is here, and Stephano's been able to keep tabs on what's going on. Oh, nice little Ling run by over there, trying to kill off some workers. Ultimately, will get trapped off by a few Colossi. WhiteRa now has several Colossi out yet again. Several Colossi out, up to 3, and adding on even more. And he's actually going up to, he's continuing his shield upgrade. WhiteRa is really banking on those upgrades right now, and they were doing him really, really good for a long time, but it looks like Stephano, if I can find him here, yeah, Stephano has now gone up to 3-3 as well. So that early upgrade advantage that WhiteRa had is no longer there, so his army is going to start feeling a little bit weaker overall. Meanwhile, Stephano is going up to a Greater Spire somewhere. There it is. Greater Spire on the way for Stephano, so we should be seeing some Broodlord action relatively soon. And he's actually starting to get pretty well mined out. WhiteRa is going up to now, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases up over here that WhiteRa is going up to, and Stephano is still stuck on just these 3. That's unfortunate for Stephano, especially since this base is completely mined out. This base is just now completely mined out. So he literally only has this one mining base. That is no good. That is no bueno, as they would say. He wants to take this base down here, but just look at the income. Somehow he's managing to still get 800 minerals out of that, but this does not look very good. And yeah, he's going to end up losing all this stuff down here. And once again, not be able to take that base. WhiteRa is just denying Stephano any opportunity to expand in this match. And in fact, he's going to come up over here, and he's going to lose this base too. He's not going to be able to defend this nearly in time. Not even going to be able to send in those locusts. That base is going to go down. Stephano now has no mining bases at all. He's got WhiteRa pushing in from this direction, pushing in from this direction as well. He's going to blink out and try to... He's going to pick out that thing and then lose a whole bunch of stuff to these locusts. Ooh, nice little fungal there as well, trapping them in place. And he's pulled back his other army, so not much going on down over here. But Stephano, he's in a bad spot right now. He does not have any mining bases at the moment. He's being forced to long-distance mine, and that is going to really hurt that economy. Look at that. No income whatsoever for Stephano at this moment. Oh, obviously, it's going to spike up a little bit as this wave of drones get over there, but that is bad news bears for Stephano. And WhiteRa is just mining away like crazy. This base is still pretty well saturated. This base, well saturated. This one's mined out. Still had a couple patches, but mined out. This one's completely mined out as well. And in fact, WhiteRa is switching over into Tempest production. In fact, this is amazing. He's getting the Gravity Sling upgrade. That is the range upgrade for the Tempest. Completely and totally required to use them properly. And he's started to... Where did he put his... There it is. He's actually started upgrading air weapons. He said, you know what, I've finished up. He's working on shields level 3 right now. He's like, I've finished up all of my ground upgrades. Going to start working on some air upgrades as well. So he's going to get air weapons so those Tempests can do even more damage from their ridiculously long range. It looks like now with these Broodlords out, Stephano is going to be able to come down here and feel a little bit safer about taking this expansion. So that'll get him some stuff. He's got this base back up again as well. So his economy is going to get a little bit of a boost yet again, but WhiteRa just has these. This base is also mined out, so he has 3 completely mining bases at the moment, compared to Stephano's 1 at the moment and soon to be 2. Unless these Tempests have something to say about it, that could be unfortunate. These guys are going to come over here and they're doing right now only 30 damage, but that base already is low, and Stephano says no air. Oh no. He might not be able to do anything about this. He's going to try and yank it over there. Maybe with these infested Terrans, he's going to be able to take them out. Nice fungal as well. But now there are a ton of Blink Stalkers in there, as well as Colossi, and a whole bunch more Tempests as well. He did lose those initial 2 Tempests, and he is actually chewing through these Stalkers relatively quickly. The Broodlords are doing their job quite well, but he doesn't have any way to kill these remaining Tempests. He just doesn't have anything that can attack. Oh, he's got 1 Corruptor, and that is now dead. Doesn't have any way to attack up. He's going to try and hope that maybe, once again, with some good infested Terrans. I don't know why he spawned them over there. Oh, he's going to try and kill off this Observer. Good call. Going to kill that Observer so that the Tempest cannot make full use of their long range. By the way, meanwhile, this is going on over here. Stephano is just not having a good day at the moment. WhiteRa is moving in over here with these Blink Stalkers, and he's going to be able to start harassing this base quite a bit as well. There are a whole bunch of units over here, so you may be able to finish that off. And uh-oh, you might actually lose these Colossi right here as well to these Broodlords. Stephano losing a Infestor. Try and maybe get a Fungal off on these to make sure that they die. It doesn't seem necessary right now. But there are now a whole bunch more Stalkers. WhiteRa just has units coming out of his ears. They are everywhere. Absolutely everywhere on this map. He's got pylons down over here that he can warp things in at. Also a Tempest down over there. He's just doing all sorts of everything right now. WhiteRa is just all over this map, and there just isn't much that Stephano can actually do about it. He did manage to just barely hold on to this base. It's sitting at 392 hit points. I feel like at any moment that thing could die to a wave of Tempest. But it is getting pretty low. But he does still have it at the moment, and now he's coming back over here to once again poke around with these Blink Stalkers. Going to try and get us around with these Zerglings, but their Blink is back up yet again. He's actually going to decide to blink over to the mineral line, try to finish off the base, and he does just barely manage to finish off that base before eventually losing the remaining of his Stalkers to those Zerglings, and he killed the south base as well. There are once again no mining bases for Stephano. He is in a lot of trouble. I feel like Stephano has a pretty good army, but he's not going to be able to last if he doesn't have any income. He has no income right now. Once again, down to 300 and plummeting rapidly as he's yet again forced to distance mine. And in fact, how many workers does he even have at this point? He's got 45 workers to WhiteRa's 88. WhiteRa is starting to mine these bases out a little bit. This one is getting low. That one is getting low as well. But he says, you have lots of money? Yeah, WhiteRa is sitting at 7K right now, and I don't know that Stephano's actually going to want to stay in this game. He may, but I don't know that he's going to. It's been going on for a while already, and he might just say, you know what, WhiteRa just has money, I don't. Here's a nice little bit of good news for Stephano. He's going to be able to kill off these couple of Tempests, and that's actually the. Oh no, never mind. WhiteRa has 4 more Tempests sitting around somewhere else on the map. Even 5 more Tempests sitting around somewhere else on the map. 2 more in production. You gotta hand it to Stephano. He is holding on like a champ right now. It's not a whole lot of Zerg players that could have no mining bases for half of the endgame and still be alive. Those Locusts are just doing work too. Oh, but they're about to run out. I don't know if they're gonna be able to finish these off in time. Yes, just barely. They have finished their duty and ended their lives accordingly. But that's a lot of Tempests. Lots of Stalkers as well. Not a ton anymore, but as many as we've seen, but he does have a good number of them. We've got Colossus all over the place. We've got another base going up for WhiteRa. He just said, you know what, I'm going to make a whole bunch of cannons. Why not? He makes them at the back just to be cheeky. He's going to make even more of them up over here. Just freaking cannons everywhere at this base for WhiteRa. He doesn't want to have to worry about defending it at all. More and more and more Tempests coming out for WhiteRa. He's even added on a 3rd Stargate. Oh, and I thought this was another base. I thought he was actually going to take Stephano's 5th, but no, he's just got a whole bunch of units sitting up over here, blocking it off from any attempts by Stephano to actually take it. And Stephano has this base up again. He has this base up again, but they're starting to mine out. These bases are getting really, really low. They're not going to last it much longer, and especially not with these Tempests up over here. They have vision down in there somehow or another. I'm not actually sure where they're getting it from, but they're able to make use of that ridiculous range. Actually, I wonder, did WhiteRa actually ever make... He never actually made an Oracle. The Oracles are able to give you vision for, I believe it's 120 seconds. It's been nerfed in a beta patch quite recently. Oh, here we go. Corrupt is coming over here to say, you know what, I'm tired of your stupid Tempests. I'm going to kill these off. But there's just so many Tempests that they can't do it. There's just not enough of them. He's going to be able to chase them back, but that's not a... That doesn't mean anything. They're freaking Tempests. They will continue to shoot from back there. So, yeah, just really, really bad situation for Stephano right now. I am not sure how much longer he can actually hold on. He's been holding on like a champ for a long, long time. but we may be nearing the end for Stephano here. As soon as these bases are mined out, which is going to be very, very soon, as these last mineral patches empty off, and he starts sending the rest of his drones down to that south base, because he might as well. Why not? Just completely clog that thing up. But these last mineral patches are going to end very, very soon. And look at this. Look at that range. Look at that range on those tempests. Excuse me. Just such long range. And there is actually, I thought I saw one actually, maybe not. I thought there was an observer down there, but apparently there is not. Oh, but Stephano's managed to get himself out a good number of corruptors while this is all going on. That is several of them. He may actually be able to start doing something against these tempests. WhiteRa is now up to 8 tempests over here, unless I'm missing some someplace else. He's actually got 10 total. Oh, there they are. A couple more coming over from his main base. So that's a lot of tempests, and it's also a lot of corruptors. I'm really just not sure if there's anything that Stephano can actually do. In fact, WhiteRa, there he is. He's taking what would normally be Stephano's 5th. He's just taking it. He says, I control the whole map. I've got all the vision in the world. You look at these Zelnaga watchtowers, you can see everything. He's got his Tempest over here doing tons of damage. They are getting sort of ripped apart, chewed apart by these corrupted right up in the front here. He's making good use of that corruption ability as well to kill them as quickly as possible. Now there's a Void Ray in the mix. Seems like a strange choice, but whatever, it's working for him. He's trying to kill these off, but unfortunately there are just too many air damaging units over here for WhiteRa. He's able to chase him off. Ooh, nice, swinging around over here. Not quite going to be able to pick off that Tempest. They're going to try and do as much as he can. The Stalkers have blinked in there, and they're actually getting destroyed by these Locusts. And it actually looks like Stephano might have gotten himself into a defensible position. He does have all these Swarm Hosts over here, which are going to be able to continue spawning Locusts and doing all that damage for free. He doesn't really have a good way to kill air units right now, especially with that Void Ray in there now getting charged up. He's going to be able to kill these Corruptors off. Stephano just does not have the income to be able to keep this up. But he does have the Locusts over here, and the Locusts do a lot of damage. Every single wave of these that comes out, that's a lot of Swarm Hosts. Every single wave of these that comes out is just more free damage being done as they move up in here and pick off Stalkers. So Stephano's going to be able to defend for a little while. He's actually using them now to try and kill this Nexus, and he does get it just as they finally die, denying WhiteRa a little bit more mining. WhiteRa is now mined out over here. He's mostly mined out over here, and his south base is getting mined out pretty well, but there we go. That's the end of it. Stephano calls well played and has left the game. So, wow. That was an amazing defense by Stephano in that game. I mean, obviously WhiteRa won. Congratulations to WhiteRa. But Stephano held on for such a ridiculously long time. That match was... How long was that match? 45-minute match there that Stephano was able to hold on for. I would have called that match over at about the 20-minute mark. Stephano held on for just such a long time. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that match. My name is Lore. I will see you in the next game.